am in awe. I wish I had just a modicum of that talent in my voice to be able to sing like that. I'm going to give it a whirl one day. Yeah. I'm not going to do that to you today, though, because I came here to have a good time and to be inspired. Not to hear some singing that might really bring you down. But I welcome you here to Soul Center OC. I know there was at least one person who's new. And if you're not new and you're just returning, welcome back. Yes. This is a great place to be. Welcome to those who are watching online. And the reason it's so wonderful, I would say, is because it's sitting on a solid foundation. It's sitting on a solid foundation of a desire by Jessica and Patricia to bring forward a truth that is transformative in our lives for the beneficial fulfillment of magnificence that is you. These are the spiritual teachings that come from the Agape International Spiritual Center, that come here to Orange County to be here to lift us and to inspire us. And you can see this perfect kind of smorgasbord of this concoction of what we did this morning, whether you were here for the meditation or not. The field of that meditation is still vibrating in the room, because what it is it's an activation. It's an activation of spirit. So if you were going to just kind of model your life after what we do here, that would be a really good idea, because what it is, it's about cultivating high vibrational frequencies to change the biochemical makeup and revert us back to who we really are. Who we really are, because I will tell you right now that probably no less than 90% of us do not know who you really are. I want you to just take this as a charge this week to explore more of who you really are. So in Scripture, we are told that we are born in the image and likeness of God, which is just a huge statement, because what does that mean? And it has very little to do with your body, very little to do with your gender or anything else of your physical makeup. Those are pieces of, this body temple that you are riding around in right now is all based on choices that you've made through lifetimes of journeying. And as a matter of fact, your entire life right now, our entire life, there's no way around it, is predicated on every single choice that we've ever made. And to be able to navigate through life and understand who you really are and know that we're all on a journey to wholeness. We are all on a journey to be enlightened masters, because it already is encoded in your DNA. It's impossible for that not to be. That's what being born in the image and likeness of God means. It means that there's a perfect, holy, eternal blueprint of brilliance residing right at your core. But how is that going to manifest itself into this world, through these bodies, in this life? And what are we going to do with it? Well, the objective here is to let your heart sing. The objective here is to allow ourselves to figure out how to navigate through. And so most of us today, probably more than ever, I'm not sure. You always hear people say, oh my God, these are just such amazing times to live in right now. But I think probably if you were to flash back, you'd probably check into the windows of the 1900s, the 1800s, the 1700s. There's probably always somebody going, these are just such amazing times to be living in right now. Because they are. They are. But one of the things that's happening that you can probably all, maybe I'm the only one, but there tends to be a lot of, in the Western world, a lot of rushing around, a lot of hurrying. And hurrying is definitely a side, or it's an indication that something's kind of off in your belief system, in the way you're thinking. There's something kind of off there. Not to make it bad or wrong. We all want to get places on time. We all want to, get things done. But the vibrational tone that you're feeling as you're kind of rushing around, if you're feeling any kind of anxiety, if you're feeling any stress, those are indicators that something's off with, there's a fear. There can't be anxiety or stress unless there's fear in your beingness. And fear, as we all know in our community, our teachings, fear is an illusionary, transitory energy that does not actually exist. It only exists in your mind. And then your mind creates biochemical transmissions into your body that allow you to feel something that feels kind of real. But it's not real. It's not real. But it can be really challenging sometimes when you're going through something that feels like it's real. And that's where our spiritual practice comes in. Or some traditions would call it would be your path to enlightenment. We're all on a path to enlightenment, every single one of us. How we're going to achieve that, there's a million roads to get there. And there's a million ways on those roads to get there. In our teachings, in our spiritual community, in the New Thought community, we kind of honor the golden thread that is found in all the religions, in all the traditions, and it's very inclusive. And so one of the things you want to kind of be aware of as you're navigating your journey to enlightenment. So we're all in agreement, right? You know, there's an intention. You may or may not be aware of it today, but there's an intention. You have an intention that brought you here. You're here this morning for one or more reasons. One reason might be that you just love how it feels here, which is kind of what, that's one of the side effects for me. I love it here. I absolutely love it. I adore you. I love every single person I meet. You know, you've heard me speak before, if you've heard me here before, that one of my prayer requests once upon a time was to have more intimate, more meaningful, more authentic relationships with people, because I had kind of gotten to the end of a rope of kind of disingenuous relationships where it's kind of superficial, and it's like, sometimes those hugs that are just kind of like little pats or whatever. And that was all, it's all on me though, because I will tell you, one of the things on your spiritual path is you need to take ownership and responsibility for your life. But when you take ownership and you take responsibility for your life, you never want to make it heavy, bad, or wrong. You never want to beat yourself up. You never want to make yourself wrong. And believe it or not, you don't want to make anybody else wrong either. It's very tempting. It's very tempting to want to make other people wrong. I don't know if anybody's ever experienced that. I'm like, oh my God, you just made me feel like this. And that's not true. I allowed myself to feel however I'm feeling based on choices that I've made over the millennia and over my journey. And so my topic today is hurry up! It's time to slow down. And to kind of discuss, as we were talking about earlier, the importance in the readings and everything. There are certain paradoxes. Many times you've heard me talk about understanding the language of God, the language of life, the language of your own beingness. And the universe is so potent. The universe is so filled with grace, beauty, and intelligence. It is just mind-boggling. It is mind-expanding if you allow it to be. If you want to expand your mind and start to go into the mind of God, that's what we use meditation for. That's what we use prayer for. These are vehicles that help us to move outside of time and space. But there are certain paradoxes. And so we all know that a paradox is something that seems like a contradiction, but in close examination, it takes you to a truth. And paradoxes I love paradoxes, hurry up and slow down, because the paradox of that is, if you slow down, things will speed up. And what I mean by that is, slowing down opens you to higher vibrational frequencies that vibrate higher at a faster rate. So you're slowing down to vibrate higher, and you're opening to the realm of miracles that's going to allow things to manifest in your life faster. So it's kind of like, the intuitive thing that most of us do is we want to hurry, I'm rushing to get here and I'm rushing to do this, when that's actually slowing things down. And we don't want to do, well, I'm assuming we don't want to do that. Plus, it puts stress. It puts stress on your bones, your body, your organs, your tissues, and who wants that? We don't want that. So, there's some of us who could be slightly resistant to, and I used to be one of those, I'll just out myself right here. I used to be one. When I first started my journey about 17, 18 years ago, first of all, I just have to remind you, some of you already know this, and I'm just going to repeat it, but I am totally one of those people I used to make fun of when I was younger, because I always used to think, oh, this is just hogwash. I got things to do. I don't have time for God. I don't have time for spiritual practice. I just have things to do. I got to go party. That was my big MO. And then when the wake-up call came, and the wake-up call, the reason it was so magnificent is because it was the first time I ever felt grace, bliss, and it was the first time I ever felt passion. And so I want to put out a charge there today. Whatever your passions in life, whatever they are, some of which you may be aware of and some of which you may not be aware of, a lot of which you do not know it is, God kind of works on a need-to-know, as-needed basis. And when you make yourself available to the presence, then that wisdom will start to reveal itself. And it shows up as passion. It shows up as purpose. It shows up as joy. It shows up as fun. It shows up as kindness. And so we want to be able to understand some of the languages, and you've heard me talk many times about the language of your energy body, understanding your physical body, your emotional body, your mental body. I also want you to understand the language. There's your karmic body. There's the language of the cosmos, the stars, astrology. There's the language of nature. There's the language of mediumship, being able to cross-dimensionally communicate. Those are all talents all of us have. We all have the ability to open all of our intuitive abilities and to expand them so that we can hear the still small voice of creation, of our soul. There's a part of you at the level of your soul that is seeking to emerge itself. But the thing is, your soul lives outside of time and space. So it really doesn't, your soul loves you and cares you and adores you and would love for you to have the very things that your heart desire, because they are absolutely integrated. They're tied right in. Your heart center knows how to read the language, knows how to understand the language of the eternal. And as that energy comes down from your soul into your heart knows how to interpret it in the language of like earth speak, human speak, right? So we want to become aware of that, but we also want to become aware of some of the languages, like the language of paradox. And so one of those is the paradox of forgiveness. And sometimes it's kind of a rude awakening sometimes, these paradoxes. Because in forgiveness, sometimes someone can do something to you, and it almost seems like they should be asking for your forgiveness. They should be offering forgiveness to you. That's what I meant to say. But in actuality, if you want to experience change and if you want to experience that forgiveness, you need to be offering it to them. Not as a get-out-of-jail-free card, not as honoring bad behavior, but as a way to set yourself free. And if you want just the real quick, nitty-gritty, down and dirty, you want to, in prayer, I would say probably some of the ingredients that we would all want to include is a real sense of humility and allowing yourself to be humiliated. I've allowed myself to be humiliated quite a few times, but in a spiritual way, which allows you to be humbled and brought into accordance with your soul, because your soul has got it all. Your soul, the divine blueprint of God as you, knows everything. And so in forgiveness, which is a transmuting energy, forgiveness transmutes. There's transmuting energies that can help you deal with issues. Our buttons, our issues, those things that trigger us.
Yes.
So I don't really know anybody. I haven't met anybody yet. I'm feeling that there are some people out there. And I, for one, I am choosing to be issue-free. I don't know how long that's going to take. But I can tell you, I have transmuted a whole slew of issues. If you knew me 20 years ago, you'd be like, oh my God, you crazy. You cray man. But I've transmuted those things. And transmutation is, if you were to take it in terms of alchemy is taking, like a base metal, and it's transmuting like lead into gold. But there has to be a trace amount of gold in there in order for the alchemy to take place. And because you're born in the image and likeness of God, you have more than a trace amount within you to alchemize anything.
Yes.
And mostly what you're alchemizing are your beliefs. You're alchemizing your emotions. And then that will trickle down and alchemize your body. And we want to understand the language of that. So forgiveness is a transmuting energy. Gratitude is a creative energy. If you want to add infusion, if you want to really create something, then you want to start to be more grateful. So the two things about that are, if you could imagine gratitude. I just like to pray dream. You've heard me use that word before, where you pray dream, where you're just kind of like, show me God, like just, what is it? Show me these things. And sometimes I go on these wild journeys and I'll be in a meditation and I imagine, maybe this is back from my clubbing days, I don't know. But I imagine walking into this big, beautiful bar and there's like these black background with shiny and there's these glass shelves and there's all these bottles. There's like an emerald green bottle and a ruby red bottle and a sapphire blue bottle. And they're just gorgeous and they're glimmering and shining. They look like they might be out of Baccarat or one of those fancy crystal makers. And they're filled with like an elixir. And one of them has on the label forgiveness. And one of them has on the label gratitude. And you just take that energy and imagine that you just start drinking it. And then all of a sudden, that energy, so you evoke forgiveness. You evoke gratitude. You evoke understanding. You can evoke whatever you want to evoke. So we call, there are certain eternal energies or qualities of God. So in our teachings, we know that God is omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient, omniamorous, that God is the all-knowing, that God is potent, just as potent anywhere you are. You cannot escape God. If you travel to Mars or to any other galaxy, God is there. If you go down into the middle of the earth, God is there. There's just no place you can go where God is not. God is potent everywhere, including within us. And so as we open up to these qualities of God, we can start to allow them to have their way with us. But we have to use choice. We have to use choice. That's what this whole exciting experience is all about. We get to choose. The irony is, or one of the paradoxes, you think you have free will and you think you have free choice, but really, ultimately, you're going to be bamboozled into choosing your way back into being who you really are. To being your whole, perfect, amazing self. Because right now, some of us go through the journey and we're, some of it call it soul retrieval, where you're retrieving parts of yourself that you disown, or sometimes we do work that's called inner child work, which is the same thing. When I was young, I've shared before that I was bullied. That created some separation within my beingness. And it created some choices that I made when I was younger from being bullied. I also got to have the experience of feeling very excluded. I was always that one, when they were picking, I was so not a sports person. It might be hard to believe, but I didn't go out for the baseball team. I certainly didn't go out for the football team. I wanted nothing to do with it, but in those days, I don't know what it's like today, but at least in junior high, you had to. And so I was always the one sitting there quivering in the corner, being like, oh my God, they're picking who's going to be on the teams. And I'm usually the last one. And if I was second to last, oh my God, I was so happy. But what that created within my trauma body was feeling very excluded. Now some of you, and it feels good because I think you get it, but might feel really compassionate about that. But the truth is, I had a choice back then. I didn't have the wherewithal, but I had a choice to feel excluded or to not feel excluded. And for whatever the reasons were, I chose to feel very excluded. And it hurt a lot. And you just couldn't wait for it to be over, And but what it did cultivate in me as I got older was the importance of feeling included. That's what this community is. This whole community that's right here at Soul Center, the Agape community, it's about creating a space for you to be you and to feel included. And that's a huge concept to know what it's like to feel included. I get like here when I watch you guys, and it's just this harmonizing good. I rejoice. I rejoice in it. It's like you've got the mechanism of inclusion going. It's like, because the ultimate inclusion is being part of that which supports your soul's expression of the law of emergence, that which is seeking to emerge from you into the world, your gifts, your talents. You know, you've heard it said sometimes about letting your song be sung. Don't leave this world without singing your song. You've got a million songs to sing, and we want to sing them. You know, you don't want to hear me sing it literally, but we do want to sing them. We want to sing them through our expression, and we want to be open and available to what is it? What is it? Show me. So inquiry is a very important piece of the spiritual puzzle. We want to inquire. We want to invite, we want to evoke, we want to allow, we want to go into that alchemical bar, and we want to start to drink. Forget your Tom Collins and your vodka tonics and your margaritas. You want to drink some, gratitude. Drink some gratitude. Drink some joy. Drink some love or peace or tranquility. Drink revitalizing wellness into your body. These are energies that you can actually do. And when you meditate and when you pray, that's what you're doing. You're opening the gateways to alchemy. So you may have gathered that I'm kind of stressing, and not in the stressful way, but in the highlighting way. Highlighting the importance of surrendering to your path, surrendering to your purpose, surrendering to the practice of allowing yourself to cultivate who you really are and what brings you joy and happiness. One of the other paradoxes is the paradox of prosperity. And so we want to understand these paradoxes because usually, I don't know if any of you have ever experienced, I did once upon a time, when I first woke up, I think I've shared with you, I used to be an ad exec. And I had climbed my way up, and I was like at the height of my egos, like, oh my, look at me, I got 6 figures, I'm third from the top in the company, and I'm miserable. Because I didn't, but the thing is, I didn't know I was miserable. I didn't know I was miserable because I had acclimated to levels of stress, and when you acclimate to certain things, so a lot of times in the news you've been hearing lately, especially with all the politics, you don't want to normalize something. And a lot of us normalize things in our lives, and we don't realize that what we're normalizing is taking us on a degenerative track that is actually taking us down in health, in our emotions, in prosperity. And so even though I had used a lot of willpower, I used a lot of willpower to get to where I was back then, to get to that position, to get to that money. And then when I in a New York second, I let it all go when I discovered God. And to hear me even like utter those words, it's just kind of like, whoa. But I did. I discovered bliss, grace, beauty, divine intelligence. I discovered miracles, and I started to pull on the thread of me. I started to pull on that thread. And so I'd like you to all, and if you've been pulling on the thread of you, and if you've been unraveling who you are, and if you've been on the journey of becoming even more aware of your divinity, good. Then let's do more, because you've got an entire lifetime, and then another one after that, probably. You could decide if you get to the master stage, you would decide, well, you know what, I think I'm going to try something different this time. Maybe I'm not coming back as a human being. You just kind of evaporate into the ethers of complete beingness that is bliss beyond your wildest dreams. It's life on magnificence. So, one of my favorite quotes in A Course in Miracles as we get ready to close here is that, because one of the things you want to be aware of is that your choice is very important in all of this. And most of us are choosing by default. We're choosing because we've had experiences, they created certain circumstances, we made certain choices, and then we keep re-choosing, we just push autopilot. When this happens, I say this, I do this. And you're just a robot, an automatron that's just kind of walking around and you just react to everything. And of course, the miracle says that you maybe think that you're responsible for what you do, but it is truly And that would be a partial truth, because it is truly that you are responsible for what you think. Because what you think is the only place where that can take you to choice, and I'm paraphrasing here, that is the only place that can take you to choice is through thought. So you are responsible for what you think. Every single thing you think, whether it's just an auto response or if it's opening up to the fresh idea of God. So if you think that any thought you're having is not creative, it is. They are all creative. And because we're all one and we're all connected, if I'm having a thought like, well, they're kind of like a loser or whatever, if I'm thinking that, I am basically saying that to me. The law of attraction, the law of cause and effect, what goes around comes around. So there is no they. There's only us. There's only one. So I'm going to set forth a charge for us today, and that charge is that you're going to allow yourselves to drink from the bottle in that alchemy bar of pure holy thoughts. Pure thoughts of love. It's a choice. It's a choice. And we're never going to make ourselves bad or wrong. If you have one of those thoughts where it's a little critical and you're just like, don't go, oh my God, what am I doing? We're not going to go there. You just use the law of transmutation to clean it up. So we're just becoming ever more self-aware, and as the scales start to balance out, it just gets easier and easier and easier. So with that being said, I'm just going to invite you all to join me in just a couple other proclamations or declarations. So I'm just going to have you stand up. We're going to say a couple just to seal this all up. Because these are actually, I'm going to say, instead of affirmations, they're choices. They're choices. It is easy for me to clearly understand the language of my soul.
It is easy for me to clearly understand the language of my soul.
I joyously comply with the laws of health, wealth, and truth.
I joyously comply with the laws of health, wealth, and truth.
I am surrendered to full states of optimism and faith.
I am surrendered to full states of optimism and faith.
And you may be seated as we turn within and we open into that field of prayer. Once again, I invite you to allow yourself to imagine a time where you're just ceaselessly in a field of prayer, because prayer is dynamic, it's alive, it's fresh. And so as we open our hearts, our bodies, our minds, our souls, to the infinite dynamic grace of God, as we allow ourselves to know God even more intimately than ever before, as all life, as every single person, as every plant, as every animal, as the earth, as we know God and allow it to grow and glow in our awareness and remember the truth of our own divinity, that we are allowing ourselves to know ourselves and love ourselves as God knows and loves us. As we open and we allow every morsel, muscle, follicle, bone, and tissue to celebrate bliss, to celebrate joy throughout our beingness, in our body temples, in our emotional bodies, in our mental bodies, as clear, lucid, divine thoughts of love, compassion, truth, and understanding, in our body of affairs, in our prosperity body, as unlimited supply. We open to this and we allow it to be. We give it permission. We give ourselves permission to be inspired, to be motivated, to be enthusiastic, and to accept it. All we need to do is relax. We relax. We agree to allow it all to be gratefully, devotionally, and reverently by saying in acceptance, and so it is.
And so it is.
Amen.
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 Aho.
Aho.
Ashe.
Ashe.
Shalom.
Shalom.
Hotep.